I didn't realize I'd made the biggest mistake of my week until I was halfway home. Rain falling in sharp needles, my bag soaked, my shoes ruined, and my brain too exhausted to function. My laptop, my entire presentation, my entire career technically, sitting right there on my desk at the office. I didn't even have the energy to panic properly. Just a slow, sinking feeling in my stomach as the bus rolled farther away from the building. I stared at my empty hands like the laptop might magically appear if I glared hard enough. Didn't. Great, I whispered, my breath fogging against the cold window. Perfect. Amazing. Fantastic. I'm incompetent. Tomorrow morning, I was supposed to present a multi-million-dollar project to the board. Not as an assistant, not as a note-taker, but as the lead analyst. First time ever. And I left the entire thing sitting like an orphan child on my desk. I pressed my forehead against the window, quietly dying inside. By the time I reached my building, all I wanted was a steaming shower and a chance to cry in peace. I unlocked the door to my apartment, dumped my bag on the floor, and collapsed on my couch with a dramatic groan. Rain hammered against the windows. Thunder rolled. I stared at the ceiling. Should I go back and get it? In this weather? In the dark? At 11:37 p.m.? No, I muttered. I'll just die tomorrow instead. I rubbed my face. It's fine. Everything's fine. My life is falling apart, but it's fine. Knock. I froze. My apartment was on the 4th floor. Hardly anyone knocked at this hour, especially during a storm. I sat up slowly. Another knock. My heart climbed into my throat. Who is it? I called, quietly wishing my voice sounded a little less terrified. There was a pause. A calm, deep voice answered. It's Dominic. My pulse flatlined. Dominic, as in Dominic Valtieri. My boss, the CEO, the man who owned half the city, and the kind of presence that made people straighten their spines even when he simply walked past. I scrambled off the couch, tripping over my own blanket. What was he doing here? I hadn't even told anyone I lost the laptop. In fact, I had planned to suffer silently in humiliation. I unlocked the door with shaking hands. When I opened it, I forgot how to breathe. Dominic Valtieri stood there, black shirt, rain-soaked coat, sharp jaw, darker eyes, holding my laptop in one hand like it weighed nothing. His hair was damp, raindrops sliding down strands onto his collar. He looked like a scene from a noir movie, dangerous, calm, intense. Hi, I managed, and immediately regretted how pathetic it sounded. He lifted the laptop slightly. You forgot this. I blinked. You, how, when, why? Smooth, very smooth. He didn't smile. He rarely did, but there was something in his eyes, a quiet amusement, or maybe I was imagining it. I was still at the office, he said simply. You were gone. Your laptop wasn't. Oh, brilliant. Stunning vocabulary. He held it out to me. I took it with both hands like it was a sacred relic. Thank you, I whispered. You're presenting tomorrow, he said, voice low and even. There's no room for mistakes tonight. The words weren't harsh. They were matter-of-fact, realistic, but somehow, they didn't feel like criticism. They felt like he cared. I know, I said, my cheeks burning. I'm sorry. I was just tired. His eyes softened by a fraction. You're allowed to be tired, he said quietly. You're doing the work of 3 people. I swallowed. Dominic rarely gave compliments. When he did, they felt like gold coins dropped silently into your palm. Do you want to? The rest of my sentence died in my throat. What was I going to say? Invite him inside? Offer him coffee? Ask him to stay? No, I muttered quickly. Never mind. He studied me for a moment. Really studied. The way my hair was still damp from the rain. The exhaustion in my posture. The anxiety I was trying and failing to hide. You haven't eaten, he said. I blinked. How do you know? You look like someone who walked through a storm and then collapsed. I stared at him. Is that a compliment? He tilted his head. An observation, right? I stepped aside slightly, not sure what I was doing. Do you want to come in? I mean, you don't have to, obviously. You probably have 10 meetings and 5 deals and a whole underworld to run. His brow arched. I run a corporation, not an underworld. Right? Yes. Sorry. Long day. His lips twitched. Almost a smile. He stepped inside. Not because he needed to. Not because I insisted. He stepped in like a storm entering quietly. Inevitable, steady, and strangely comforting. I shut the door behind him. He looked around my small apartment, not judging, just observing. The rain outside echoed against the walls. You should eat something, he said again. I rubbed my face. I'll make noodles or something. You'll burn them. I don't burn everything. You set off the office microwave fire alarm last month. That was one time. His eyes finally warmed with actual amusement. The kind he didn't show anyone. I sighed. Okay, fine. I burn things. He took off his coat, placed it neatly over a chair, and rolled up his sleeves. My soul left my body. I'll cook, he said simply. You cook. He glanced at me like it was obvious. I'm Italian. Fair point. He moved toward the kitchen. Calm, confident, completely unaffected by the chaos inside my chest. I watched him open my cabinets like he'd memorized their layout. How do you know where everything is? I asked. He shrugged. I pay attention. To what? The room? The cabinets? Or me? My heart thudded. Dominic turned slightly, the soft kitchen light outlining his sharp features. You need to sit, he said. You're shaking. I sat. He cooked. In my kitchen. At midnight. After walking through a storm just to bring me the laptop I was too careless to remember. And for some reason, all I could think was, this man doesn't do things for no reason. Why did he really come tonight? For the first few minutes I just sat there, watching him move around my tiny kitchen like it wasn't designed for people under 6 feet or without mafia-adjacent energy. Dominic Valtieri looked out of place, yet completely at home. A contradiction in human form. My kitchen had one dim light overhead, still flickering from the storm. It cast soft gold highlights over his shoulders, the rolled-up sleeves revealing strong forearms, his movements precise, controlled. He opened my refrigerator. I wanted to die. It was empty. Not like, oh no, I'm missing a few ingredients, empty. No, empty. Half a lemon, expired yogurt, and a bottle of water. I buried my face in my hands. He looked back at me. His expression didn't change, but his eyebrow lifted like, really? I've been busy, I muttered. He closed the fridge door with the quiet finality of a man accepting a tragic fate. He scanned the shelves above the stove, found a bag of pasta. Good, he said. I blinked. Good? That's good? That's your bar for cooking. I can work with this. He filled a pot with water. I sat there like a stunned goldfish. You seriously know how to cook? I asked. He didn't look up. No one survives Italian childhood without learning. I pressed my lips together, hiding a smile. He lit the stove. Flame flared. Shadow and light played across his face. Sharp cheekbones. Intense eyes softened by warmth from the fire. For a moment, everything felt surreal. My boss, my terrifying, unreadable, too powerful for normal life boss, was cooking for me. At midnight, in my kitchen, like this was normal, like we'd done this before. He poured the pasta into the pot with a small splash. I flinched. He noticed. You all right? He asked. Yes, just jumpy. You've been under pressure. Understatement of the century. He turned back to the stove. The rain outside softened into a steady whisper, tapping against the windows. A strange calm filled the room. He wasn't talking much, but he didn't need to. Dominic Valtieri wasn't a man of many words. He was a man of presence. A man whose silence said more than most people's monologues. So, I started mostly to fill the air. You really stayed at the office late tonight? I was reviewing the investor deck, he said. My heart dipped. Did I do badly? Is that why you were fixing it? He sighed. turning toward me fully. No. Pause. You did well. Then why? The formatting was off. I blinked. That's what kept you until almost midnight? A small rumble in his chest. Almost a laugh. Details matter, he said. He returned to the stove, drained the pasta, found a jar of sauce in one of my cabinets like it was second nature. I blinked again. How did you know that was there? I pay attention, he repeated. My chest tightened slightly. What else do you pay attention to? I asked softly, before I could stop myself. He paused, just for a second. Then he turned back to cooking. A lot, he said simply. That should not have sent a shiver down my spine. He plated the pasta and placed the dish in front of me. Steam curled into the air. He didn't make himself a plate. Aren't you eating too? I asked. I'm fine. You cooked. You should eat. His jaw twitched slightly. Something softened in his expression. He sat across from me. I picked up my fork. The first bite nearly made me moan. This is actually incredible. He shrugged. It's just pasta. No, I pointed my fork at him. This is Michelin star pasta. His lips twitched. Then you've been deprived of real food. Yes, clearly. A quiet moment passed. He watched me eat with a strange intensity. Not judgmental, not romantic. Something else. Something protective. You're calmer now, he observed. Food helps. No, he shook his head. Being seen helps. I froze. What? He lowered his gaze. You're used to being invisible, he said quietly. And tonight, someone noticed you were carrying too much. My chest tightened painfully. How do you know that? His eyes lifted to mine, steady, unblinking. Because I used to be the same. I inhaled sharply. What changed? I whispered. He hesitated. Then said, I built walls high enough no one could reach me. That doesn't sound like a good thing. It kept me alive. The room felt heavier, warmer, more intimate in a way I didn't understand. After a moment, he asked, why didn't you go back to get the laptop? I swallowed my pasta. I was exhausted and scared I'd break down if I walked into the office again. He leaned back slightly, studying me with unreadable eyes. You don't have to do everything alone. I do, I whispered. I always have. He exhaled, slow, steady. You're not alone anymore. I blinked. My heart wasn't beating normally anymore. You don't have to say that, I said. I don't say things I don't mean. The air thickened. My throat tightened. Dominic, I breathed. Before I could form another word, the lights flickered. A rumble of thunder shook the windows. He looked toward the door. Something shifted in his posture, alert, tense, calculating. What happened? I asked. He stood slowly. Someone's outside. My stomach dropped. How do you know? Because I heard footsteps. He met my eyes. And we're on the 4th floor. I gripped the table. Rain hammered harder. Wind howled. He took a step toward me. Stay here, he said quietly. I shook my head. Dominic, if someone's at your door at midnight, he said, voice low and cold, it's not a coincidence. My breath hitched. I'll check. He moved with controlled calm toward the hallway. I followed, heart thudding. He reached the door, paused, then turned his head slightly. Don't stand behind me, he murmured. If something happens, I want you clear. Something warm and terrifying bloomed in my chest. He opened the door slowly, revealing a package on the floor. Nothing else. He stared at it with suspicion. I stared at him. Dominic, I whispered. You're acting like something could happen. He looked at me. His eyes were unreadable. When you're involved, he said quietly, I don't take chances. Dominic crouched down slowly, studying the package like it wasn't just cardboard, but something alive, something dangerous. The hallway light flickered. The storm rumbled behind us. My heartbeat thudded loud enough to echo. It's just a box, I whispered, unsure whether I was reassuring him or myself. He didn't look up. Packages don't get delivered at midnight. And not in a storm. My mouth dried. Maybe it's a mistake? His jaw flexed. Nothing at this hour is a mistake. He reached out and picked it up, gently, controlled, like he was handling something fragile or rigged. I didn't realize I'd moved until I was standing right beside him. He glanced at me. You should step back. I'm not leaving you with it. His eyes softened for a second. Barely. Just enough that I felt it. He stood and carried the box inside, placing it carefully on my small dining table. Rain smeared down the window behind him, thunder echoing through the room. For a moment, we both just stared at it. Plain brown cardboard. No label. No name. Nothing. My stomach twisted. Should we open it? I whispered. We. His eyebrow lifted. I'm opening it. You're staying behind me, right? Of course. He reached for a knife from the kitchen counter. When did he even see where it was? He slid the blade along the edge, quiet and precise. I held my breath. The box opened with a soft rustle. Inside was a USB drive. Just that. My heart dropped. What is that? I asked. That's what I'm going to find out, he said. His voice was too calm. Dangerously calm. He took the drive to my laptop, the same one he brought tonight, the same one that forced him into my apartment, my kitchen, my life. I followed him. My hands shook, so I hid them behind my back. He inserted the drive. A single folder popped up. Untitled. Dominic clicked it. My blood went cold. Pictures. Videos. All of me. Leaving work. Entering my building. Walking to the bus. Shopping. Unlocking my apartment door. My breath hitched. Someone had been following me. He clicked a video. The screen filled with grainy footage. Me. At work. Just yesterday. Sitting at my desk. Completely unaware. My knees nearly buckled. Dominic stood frozen. Still. Silent. But not calm. His hand curled into a fist. His jaw tightened. His eyes darkened into something sharp and lethal. Dom! I whispered. My voice broke. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He just watched. As another video started. This one from tonight. It showed me stepping off the bus. Walking to my building. Unlocking my apartment door. And behind me, someone in a hood. Standing in the shadows. Watching. I felt sick. Dominic exhaled slowly. Like he was holding an explosion inside his chest. Why would someone record me? I whispered. He turned toward me. And the look in his eyes. I had never seen it before. Not at work. Not in his office. Not even a hint. This wasn't CO Dominic. This wasn't stoic, calm, controlled Dominic. This was danger. Because someone has been tracking you, he said quietly. Someone who isn't afraid to get close. My throat tightened. I never noticed. You weren't supposed to. His gaze hardened. People like this don't get seen. Not unless they want to. My chest constricted. I felt like the walls were closing in. What do? I breathed. You're not doing anything, he said. I'm handling this. His voice had changed. Lower. Colder. A tone that didn't belong to an office building. Or a boardroom. Or meetings with investors. This tone belonged somewhere darker. Somewhere dangerous. Dominic, I whispered. You're scaring me. He looked at me. Really looked. His eyes softened only a fraction. You're safe, he said. I'm here. He closed the laptop. We're leaving. What? Why? He grabbed his coat and handed me mine. Because whoever dropped that package might still be around. I froze. Dominic. He approached me slowly, steady and grounding. Look at me, he said softly. I lifted my gaze. You're not staying here alone, he said. Not after this. You're coming with me. To your place. He nodded once. My stomach fluttered for reasons that had nothing to do with fear. Is that safe? I whispered. His lips twitched. Not in amusement but something darker. My place is the safest building in the entire city. He wasn't bragging. He was stating a fact. He handed me my keys, my phone, my laptop. Stay close, he said. Then he stepped outside first. Checking the hallway. Scanning the shadows. reading the silence like a language only he understood. Only then did he gesture for me to follow. The elevator ride down felt impossible. Every floor number flickering made my heart race. Dominic watched the doors, not the numbers. Body tensed, shoulders squared, posture alert. I realized then, this wasn't the first time he'd protected someone. But the way he stood in front of me, like a shield, like a vow, like he wouldn't let the world touch me without going through him first. The elevator opened. The lobby was empty. Too empty. He placed his hand on the small of my back. Steady, warm, guiding me. "Stay close," he murmured. Outside, the storm had softened, but the air felt different, heavier. He walked me to a sleek black car parked under the streetlight. He opened the passenger door. "Get in." His voice wasn't a request. I obeyed. He circled to the driver's side. But before he got in, he scanned the street again. Every building, every corner, every shadow. Only then did he slide in beside me. As the car pulled away, my apartment building grew smaller behind us. "What happens now?" I whispered. He glanced at me, darkness swirling in his eyes. "Now," he said quietly, "we find out who's watching you." The city blurred past the car windows. Rain streaking down the glass in silver lines, streetlights glowing like distant stars, the storm slowly dying behind us. But the storm inside me wasn't dying at all. My apartment, the videos, the package at midnight, someone following me for days, maybe weeks. My hands trembled in my lap. Dominic drove in silence, both hands on the wheel, jaw tight, eyes burning holes through the road ahead. The car itself was quiet except for the low hum of the engine. I watched him in the dim light. He didn't look afraid. He looked angry, but not reckless angry. The dangerous kind of angry, the kind that didn't explode, the kind that calculated. "Dominic," my voice was small. "What if someone's been inside my building before? Watching? Waiting?" He cut in, voice low and steady. "They won't get near you again." "How can you be sure?" His eyes flicked toward me. "Because you're with me." It should not have made me feel safer. Not logically, not rationally, but it did. He returned his gaze to the road. "We're going to my penthouse. You'll stay there until I handle this." I swallowed. "Is that allowed?" His lips twitched barely. "You think I care about rules right now?" I sank back into the seat. Street after street blurred until suddenly, the car slowed and turned into a gated driveway that didn't look like any normal residential entrance. Tall steel fencing, security cameras hidden but everywhere. 2 guards stepped forward from behind a glass booth. They didn't ask Dominic any questions. They didn't even check his ID. They saw the car and immediately opened the gate. My eyebrows shot up. "What is this place?" I whispered. "You'll see." We drove upward into an underground garage that looked more like a private bunker. Black SUVs, bulletproof sedans, a few bikes, and then I realized none of this belonged to a man who only ran a corporation. Dominic parked the car and stepped out, coming to my side to open my door. I got out slowly. The garage was quiet, too quiet. He rested a hand on my back gently, guiding me toward the elevator. "Don't be nervous," he murmured. I laughed softly, breathless. Too late. The elevator opened for him before he even pressed anything, as if it recognized him. Inside, he pressed the highest floor. Penthouse. My stomach flipped. The elevator doors closed. The ride was silent, except for him, except for the weight of his presence beside me. Tall, warm, protective, a storm in human form. "Are you always this quiet?" I asked softly. He glanced down at me. "Are you always this brave?" Brave. The word didn't fit me, but the way he said it, like a certainty, it made my chest warm. The elevator opened. I stepped out and froze. His penthouse was nothing like I imagined. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't cold. It was warm, minimalistic, elegant, all glass and concrete and dark wood. Tall windows overlooking the glowing city. Storm clouds still rolling on the horizon. Soft lights glowed from hidden corners. A fireplace crackled on the far side. Felt safe. Dominic watched my reaction quietly. "It's beautiful," I whispered. He nodded once. "I like quiet spaces." That surprised me. A man like him, surrounded by noise, responsibility, power, but preferring silence. He walked ahead and placed my laptop on the kitchen island. "Sit," he said gently. I obeyed, sinking onto one of the stools as he pulled out his phone. His voice dropped lower, colder, more commanding than I had ever heard it at work. "Find the person who delivered that package." A pause. "Yes, check the cameras. Street, building, lobby. All of it." Another pause. "And pull footage from the last 2 weeks." My heart slammed against my ribs. 2 weeks. Had I really been followed that long? He ended the call and returned to me. "Did someone at work have access to your schedule?" he asked. "Yes. Everyone, technically. That board in the hallway." He exhaled through his nose. "Then it's not random." I stared at him. "You're talking like this is something you've seen before." His jaw tightened. "I have." Something cold slipped down my spine. "What do you mean?" I whispered. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he removed his coat, folded it neatly, placed it on the couch, then leaned against the counter across from me, arms folded, switching from boss to something else entirely. Something darker. Something that didn't belong in boardrooms. "You know me as Dominic Valtieri, CEO?" he said quietly. "Yes. But that's not the whole picture." My stomach twisted. "What's the rest?" He held my gaze. Steady, intense, unwavering. "My family built its empire before the corporation existed," he said. "Some connections I didn't choose. Some I inherited." I inhaled sharply. "You mean?" "Yes," he said calmly. "My family was once involved with things you'd call criminal. Some parts still are." The room felt suddenly smaller. "Then why tell me?" I whispered. "Why trust me with this?" "Because whoever followed you," he said, voice steady, "doesn't fear the law." He stepped closer. "They fear me." My breath hitched. I wasn't sure which part scared me more, that someone was following me, or that Dominic knew exactly how to handle it. "But why would anyone target me?" I whispered. He hesitated. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. "Because you work for me." My breath caught. "But I'm just an analyst." "You're more visible than you think." His eyes sharpened. "Someone might want leverage." Leverage. The word tasted wrong. "I'm not. I don't know anything." "It's not about what you know," he said quietly. "It's about who you are to them." "And who am I?" He looked at me, really looked. "The woman I brought home tonight." My heart stopped. His voice dropped lower, softer. "And that makes you a target." I swallowed hard. "Dominic, I didn't ask for any of this." "I know." He stepped even closer. "And that's why I'm not letting anything happen to you." My breath trembled. The fireplace crackled softly behind us. The storm outside softened into a distant hum. We stood inches apart. His eyes were darker now, troubled, protective, almost possessive. "From tonight onward," he said quietly, "you're staying where I can see you." "Meaning here?" "Yes." "And tomorrow?" "Here." "And after tomorrow?" "Until this is over." "And if I refuse?" I asked, voice shaking. He didn't blink. "I won't let you." I stared at him, terrified, safe, both at once. "Dominic?" I whispered, struggling to process it all. "What if this is too much?" His voice softened just barely. "It already is." A pause. "But you're not facing it alone." The room fell silent. Then, his phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen. His jaw locked. "What is it?" I whispered. He looked up. Someone had been at my apartment building tonight. Someone whose face they caught on camera. Someone he recognized. His voice dropped. "It's not a stranger," he said. My stomach nodded. "Then who?" His eyes darkened. "My brother." For a moment I didn't understand. Brother? His brother? Dominic's eyes were fixed on the phone screen, the glow lighting the sharp lines of his face. His jaw tightened in a way I'd never seen before. Not at work. Not when he spoke to the board. Not even when he dealt with multimillion-dollar crises. This was different. This was personal. Dominic, I whispered. What do you mean, your brother? He didn't answer immediately. He turned the phone around silently, showing me the image the camera caught in the lobby of my building. A blurry figure at first, hood up, head down. But the next frame was clear enough. Sharp jawline, dark eyes, a smile that wasn't really a smile, and a familiarity that made my breath hitch. The resemblance. It was Dominic's face, but colder, sharper, twisted in a way his never was. The air left my lungs. That's Matteo, he finished. His voice was flat. No emotion. Just ice. Your brother. Yes. I stared at the screen, my skin crawling. He was outside my apartment? Dominic nodded once. My heart lodged in my throat. But why? Why would your own brother? His expression didn't soften. It hardened. Because Matteo doesn't see people, he said quietly. He sees leverage, opportunities, weakness, pressure points. And I'm one of those? For the first time since entering the penthouse, Dominic looked away. Yes, the truth slammed into my chest like a punch. When he looked back at me, something almost painful flickered in his eyes. I didn't expect him to target you, he said quietly. He doesn't usually get involved with my work. Then why now? Dominic exhaled slowly, the kind of exhale men do when they're deciding between telling the truth or protecting you with a lie. He chose the truth. Because he saw me with you. My heart stuttered. Saw you, with me? When? In the office. In the elevator. Leaving together. His voice dropped. And tonight. My breath caught. So he thinks there's something between us? Dominic didn't answer. He didn't have to. His silence was the answer. A silence loaded with everything unspoken. The way he looked at me. The way he shielded me. The way he cooked for me. The way he stood in my doorway like he'd destroy anything that came near. I swallowed hard. Dominic, I'm just your employee. His eyes lifted to mine. And what I saw there, no boss looks at an employee like that. You're not, he said softly. The words vibrated in the air between us. But you should be safe, he continued, voice steadying. You shouldn't be dragged into my world. Too late, I whispered. His jaw clenched. I know. I sank onto the sofa, my legs weak. Dominic walked toward me. Slow, careful, like approaching something fragile and breakable. He sat across from me, elbows on his knees, hands clasped loosely. I need you to understand something, he said. My family is complicated. I noticed. He didn't smile. Matteo and I haven't spoken in years. Not properly. Not peacefully. We went separate ways a long time ago. What happened? His eyes darkened. He chose business in the shadows. I chose business in the light. You mean? Yes. His voice was matter-of-fact. I left the family's old operations behind. He didn't. The room felt colder. He saw you with me, Dominic continued. He thinks hurting you would hurt me. Would it? I asked quietly. He stiffened just slightly. Then he answered. Yes. My breath caught. He didn't look away this time. You matter, he said. To the company. To the project. To the team. But the way he said it, those were not reasons. Those were shields. Thin ones. And to you. I whispered before I could stop myself. Silence. Heavy. Loaded. Dangerous. Dominic stood up suddenly and walked toward the floor-to-ceiling windows. Rain streaked down the glass. Lightning flashed somewhere in the distance. He stood with his back to me, hands in his pockets, posture tense. When I saw that video, he said quietly, almost too quietly, when I saw someone watching you like that, he paused. Something inside him broke, just a crack. I realized there are very few people in my life I would go to war for. My breath caught. And you are one of them. The world tilted. I didn't move. Couldn't move. He turned slowly, stepping back toward me. His eyes were softer now, but his voice wasn't. His voice was a vow. You will stay here, he said. You will sleep in the guest room. I'll stay awake until security confirms Mateo has left the area. You don't have to. I do. He took another step closer. I brought you into my home. I found you in the middle of a threat. And whether you meant to or not. His gaze lowered to my hands, shaking slightly. You've become someone I cannot risk losing. I felt something warm bloom in my chest. Something terrifying. Something I didn't have a name for. Dominic, I whispered. What if your brother comes back? He won't get near you. How can you be sure? He leaned in, close enough that I felt his breath. Close enough that the storm outside didn't matter. Because I'll be standing in front of you. My heartbeat wasn't normal anymore. It wasn't even close. Why? I breathed. He hesitated only for a second, and then he said the words that would change everything. Because I care about you more than I ever should. The room spun. The storm outside faded. The city went silent. I opened my mouth. A knock echoed at the penthouse door. Dominic's body snapped into alert posture instantly. Not fear. Readiness. He put a hand on my shoulder gently. Stay behind me. My blood froze. He walked to the door, every movement controlled and lethal. He opened it just a crack, and his entire body tensed. I couldn't see who it was. I only heard Dominic's voice. Low, dark, deadly. What the hell are you doing here? A second voice answered. Calm. Smooth. Mocking. Relax, brother. I just came to talk. Mateo. At the door. At Dominic's home. My breath stilled. Dominic didn't open the door wider. He didn't move. He just said one thing. One sentence that made the air crack with danger. If you came anywhere near her again, I'll end you myself. Silence. Then Mateo's soft, cold laugh. We'll see. Footsteps. Elevator doors. Silence again. Dominic closed the door. Locked it. Then turned to me with a look that sent shivers down my spine. This isn't over, he said. But you're safe with me. And somehow, I believed him. I didn't move for several seconds after the door clicked shut. I was still standing near the edge of the living room, one hand pressed against my chest, trying to convince my heart to behave like a normal human organ. Dominic stepped away from the door slowly, not relaxed, not relieved, but like a man walking out of a fight he had only paused, not ended. His shoulders were tight, his jaw locked. He didn't turn around immediately. When he finally did, his eyes weren't the warm, protective ones I saw earlier. These were darker, sharper, a storm barely contained. Are you okay? He asked. The question shouldn't have made my breath shake. But it did. Yes, I whispered. Are you? He blinked once slowly. No. Honesty. From him, the rarest currency. Dominic? I took one hesitant step toward him. What did he want? To see you, he said. To confirm you were here. My stomach twisted. Why does he care? He hesitated only a fraction before answering. Because he thinks you matter to me. I don't. My voice cracked. I don't know if that's true. He moved toward me. Quiet, controlled steps. The air thickening with something unspoken. You do, he said. I swallowed. He stood in front of me now, close enough for the tension to pull the oxygen out of the room. Close enough for truth to feel heavy between us. Dominic? I whispered. What does he want with me? He wants leverage. Against you. Yes. But why now? He exhaled, tension rolling off him like a second storm. Because Mateo has always hated one thing about me, he said quietly. What? That I walk away from the darkness he chose. I stared at him. And me? I whispered. How do I fit into that? You don't. His voice softened. And you shouldn't. He closed the remaining distance slowly, not touching me, but close enough that I felt the heat from his skin. Someone like you. He paused, struggling with the words. You shouldn't be anywhere near men like us. Men like us. Mafia, I whispered. He didn't flinch. So that was it. The silent truth beneath everything. The shadow hanging between him and his brother. So, I'm in danger because you were with me, he said, voice like gravel. And he saw that. I had to sit down. The room tilted. I sank onto the edge of the couch, my fingers twisting the fabric of my sweater. Dominic remained standing for a moment, then lowered himself gradually onto the coffee table across from me, close enough that our knees almost touched. Look at me, he said softly. I lifted my eyes. He wasn't cold now, or angry, or distant. He looked conflicted, like fighting something inside himself. You didn't do anything wrong, he said. This is on me. On you. My voice shook. For helping me? For keeping me safe. He closed his eyes briefly, like the weight of everything pressed against him. Because I let myself get close. My heart jumped. You. I couldn't say it. Couldn't breathe it. Yes, he said. I care about you. More than I intended to. More than I should. A tear slipped from my eye before I even felt it. Dominic brushed it away gently with his thumb. Electricity shot through me. Goosebumps prickled along my skin. His touch was soft. Too soft for someone who had just threatened his brother's life. I won't apologize for caring, he said. But I will apologize for the danger it brought. You didn't bring the danger, I whispered. Your brother did. He shook his head slightly. My brother only acts on opportunity. I should have seen this coming. I drew a shaky breath. So what now? His gaze locked with mine. Now, he said quietly, you stay here, and I end this. End this how? He didn't answer. That terrified me more than the truth. Dominic? I whispered. Don't do something irreversible. His jaw clenched. He came to your home. He watched you for weeks. He followed you in the dark. That crossed a line I cannot ignore. But, he leaned in, voice low and steady. You're not asking me to let him go, are you? I didn't know how to answer. I didn't know what the right answer was. Dominic, I don't want you hurt because of me. He closed the small space between us. Not touching, but near enough to feel every breath. I'm not the one who gets hurt, he said softly. Who does then? I whispered. You, he murmured. You were the one being watched. You were the one followed. You were the one targeted. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. And you don't even realize how much that matters. My chest tightened. Why does it matter so much? I whispered. He hesitated. Then, because you make me want things I don't have the right to want. My breath hitched. He lowered his forehead to mine. Soft, careful. A moment held together by nothing but breath. I should keep my distance, he murmured. But I can't. I felt his breath against my lips. He wasn't kissing me. He wasn't crossing a line. But he wasn't pulling away either. The storm outside cracked with lightning. The room was illuminated for a heartbeat. And then, a sharp buzz vibrated on the table. Dominic didn't move at first. He just breathed out slowly, forehead still touching mine. Then he pulled away gently and answered the call. Yeah. Silence. His jaw tightened. When? A longer silence. Then, I'm on my way. He ended the call, eyes dark and furious. What happened? I asked, pulse racing. They found Matteo, he said. My stomach twisted. Where? He grabbed his coat. Too close. Dominic. He turned to me sharply, but his voice softened instantly when he saw the fear in my eyes. You'll be safe here, he said. Security is already on your floor. What will you do? I whispered. He walked toward me slowly, his gaze locked onto mine. What I should have done the moment he stepped into your building. He cupped my cheek, warm, steady, protective. I'll come back, he said softly. I promise. Be careful, I whispered. His eyes softened. For you, he said. I will. And then he was gone, the elevator doors closing behind him, like a final heartbeat, leaving me in his penthouse, with the storm fading outside, the echo of his touch still on my skin. and the terrifying knowledge that tonight, Dominic wasn't going out as my boss. He was going out as a man willing to go to war. For me.